Okay, it's already 3 p.m. Okay, let's start the webinar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good afternoon. Welcome to the Digital Talent Shortage, Digital Deregulation to Rapidly Develop Digital Talent. Thank you for sparing your time and joining us today. This webinar is organized in conjunction with the Good Regulatory Practice Month, with the main summit to be officiated by Yang Berhormat Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri bin Yaakob on next Thursday, 25th November 2021. We are very fortunate as we have our distinguished speaker, moderator, and panelists, which are from the private sector, academia, and the government sector. We have Dr. Wei Chuan Beng, Champion of Digital Productivity Nexus, Dr. Sumitra Nair, Chief Digital Skills and Job Officer of Malaysia Digital Economic Corporation, MDEC, Professor Dr. Muhammad Shafri Muhammad Rahim, Chair of UTM Institute for Life Ready Graduate of University Technology Malaysia, UTM, and also Associate Professor Dr. Wan Zuhainis Saad, Director of Academic Excellence Division, Ministry of Higher Education, MOHE. Okay, without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Wei Chuan Beng, Champion of Digital Productivity Nexus, DPN, to deliver his presentation and followed by moderating the fireside chat. Please, Dr.
Good afternoon. First of all, thank you very much, Saudara Pengacara. That is our Aiman, who is also the Program Manager for the Digital Productivity Nexus. Yang saya hormati all the panelists, Dr. Sumitra Nair, Chief Digital Skills and Job Officer of MDEC, Professor Dr. Muhammad Shafri Muhammad Rahim, the Chair of UTM Institute for Life Ready Graduate, and Professor Dr. Wan Zuhaini Saad, Director of Academic Excellence Division of Ministry of Higher Education. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to warmly welcome everyone who consists of the think tank, the academician, the policymakers, and the industry players to this webinar this afternoon to discuss about the implication and also the adjustment and as well as rethinking that we have to put in regarding this topic of going big with digital while facing pretty severe shortage of digital talents. And I prepared a few slides just to kind of guide our thinking as a part of this opening session, so that we could then have that as a more like a big picture. And then after that, I would like to then invite Dr. Sumitra Nair, Professor Dr. Shafri, as well as Prof. Dr. Wan Zuhainis, to also share their thoughts. And after that, then we will open to the floor for the further deliberation. All right. Okay, may I also request for Aiman to also bring up the slides, please. Just a little bit more about myself, the next slide. I wear multiple hats. Currently, I'm also very active in serving the country as a member of National Council for Digital Economy and 4IR. We look into a lot of initiatives, especially 6 major trusts from digital infrastructure, digital economy, digital talent, digital government, digital society, and also the emerging technology, especially focusing on the startup environment. And also, I could also see a lot of similar areas that has been debated and presented in the think tank organization that I also have been actively participating. That is KSI Strategic Institute for Asia Pacific. And of course, part of my national service, I also serve in the UTM as well as UTM Space, School of Professional and Continuing Education, of which this is where the direct linkage with the industry and also the academia take place. All right. The rest are my previous and current perhaps involvement in the private sectors, but then I do not have any direct what they call management role in any of those companies, except advisory and the board kind of involvement. All right. So with that, certainly it will be a great pleasure for me to also bring the last 30 years of the digital entrepreneurship experience to our discussion here. I must explicitly thank Dr. Sumitra Nair, being also the first account manager at the early days when my earlier company, Redtone, and the name before Redtone was VMS Technology, applied for the NSC status. We are one of the first few, the first batch. We call that like founding MSc status companies. And Dr. Sumitra Nair was already there to serve the nation, doing all the processing and giving advice and all this. I must thank Dr. Sumitra Nair, and you still look as young as before. All right, next slide. I think I just want to zoom in our national My Digital, which is a 10-year plan. We see that we certainly will have to transform the country towards a digitally enabled country. Even though we have a MSc for a number of years, perhaps it was viewed to be kind of focusing on certain pockets of initiative. And this is the first time My Digital takes the whole nation approach. And in order to rigorously transform our country, we need to have a large pool of competent and agile digital talents. So, in order to do this, first of all, there must be really going down to the root of integrating digital skills and knowledge into the education at the primary and the secondary level. And I am also aware that KPT also now put in a very major effort in integrating digital knowledge as well as digital entrepreneurship across all these IPTAs. We would hope and believe that a lot more programs will be rolled out in a very near future. And then also we need to shift from a typical knowledge-based kind of teaching into competencies-based so that it is directly relevant to the industry. I'm sure Prof. Dr. Wan Zuhainis could also share a lot with us, because I do recall hearing her, talking a lot about how to make sure that we have that level of competencies that is actually totally in line with the needs of the country. There will be gaps to close and all this, and we'd like to hear from Prof. Dr. Wan Zuhainis. And then at the same time, out there in the industry, there are a lot of current workers who would need to have a lot of reskilling. So that's why we also notice that there are a lot of government funding and institution contributing towards this. And MDEC has a big part in it. And then UTM has also been actively doing a lot of programs to support this reskilling of the existing workforce. And then another pillar is that the gig workers, those who get paid for their service, again, need to upgrade their skills. They need to be able to generate income on their own as the gig workers. And gig workers, in fact, generate a lot of new income for the countries, for themselves around the world. If you have the right environment, it's going to bring Malaysia to become like a new so-called gig talent hub. And we hopefully would hear more of this initiative in the near future. All right, next slide. It is now going into just giving us some ideas about the new trend. Since a few years ago, you're talking about 5 years ago, Google started talking about not hiring graduates, but then high school leavers who have shown great potential to actually be developed, and they could be given the digital competency skills training and therefore become very skillful programmers, very skillful staff in the various areas. And after that, we noticed that IBM of the world, then the Facebook of the world, and many other organizations in the Silicon Valley, they actually begin to look at, hey, does it matter to have a college degree? Of course, college degree in the US means the first degree. And that is actually a very important question. Why is it that they don't feel the necessity to want the candidates the job seekers to have the degree. It is simply because a paper does not mean that contribution to that requirement of the company. So I think we need to understand this very clearly. Likewise, in the case of our country, we have to rethink about the way we put together our delivery for our degree programs and our vocational programs, such that it becomes relevant and directly matching to the need of the industry. All right. The next slide, it is touching on, to be able to what they call effect some of those new changes that's required to achieve the whole grand aspiration of My Digital. Let's look at the constraint and also some potential solution. We like to explore this and discuss about this for the session today over this next 1 hour. First of all, it is about regulation. And in NPC and Digital Productivity Nexus, aligned to that so-called the initiative at NPC for this month to have the great awareness and the review of the regulation that is actually kind of governing our country across all the different industries. It is time for us to relook at our regulation, relook at our policies. Is there a chance for review? Is there a chance to reduce? Is there a chance to redesign? There's a need to take bold steps to do that. There's a need to exercise leadership to do that. That's at the regulators and the policymakers level. And then secondly, at the universities and colleges level, we have the Senate process, we have all the curriculum and syllabus. Is there a chance to relook at how do we co-deliver this with the industry? And therefore making this from industry for industry. I think I hear Dr. Sumitra talk about this, in a number of occasions. We certainly would wish that, the universities and policymakers could then also converge through discussion like this. And the third area is this: when it comes to the assessment, is that going to be academic assessment or is outcome-based, which is competency? Competency simply means whether you know how to ride bicycle or you do not know how to ride bicycle. You know how to swim or you do not know how to swim. But yes, you can swim faster, you swim slower. That is the different level of competency. But the moment you know how to ride bicycle, you are there. Then you can further polish and sharpen. And of course, it must also be also supported with that kind of life readiness in terms of the agility, the growth mindset, the ability to kind of develop the right habits so that, we are not subject to so much of the mental health issue of affecting many youth today, right? So it is the whole consideration here is to see how do we meet 500,000 digital talents by 2025. That is envisaged by My Digital in order to kind of have a major what they call force to propel the country forwards. Next slide. And I would like to really attribute ability to change to that leadership that we could exercise. And in this case, it is about digital leadership. Digital leadership means all of us. In fact, it need not be one person. It is at all the senior levels, particularly across all the organization, for the leaders to have the vision that will entail a digitally enabled organization. And to achieve this, the leader must play the role of building the digital culture, promoting the digital culture, and also effect the change management. And there are various strategies that a leader will have to think through and put in place. First is actually digital talent. That's why we are talking so much about digital talent this day. And then the rest will be the organizational capabilities, the technology, infrastructure, and so forth. Another strategy is to look at all the aspects of customer acquisition, customer service, and customer experience. The next aspect is about the entire scope of the operational efficiency from end to end across the entire supply chain. And lastly, is about redesigning products and services that will fully integrate with all the digital capabilities and give customer the very broad digital experience. All right. So if we are able to bring the new awareness. Only through leadership, that's where regulation could be reviewed and redesigned and purpose. And likewise, the graduates who may not have the right skills can also be repurposed by giving the sense of guidance and direction. Next slide. It is to kind of go a little bit deeper, but then I think we must not spend too much time. The digital leader want to go big with digital. That is to have breakthrough thinking and use digital to achieve integrity, because integrity means consistency. When you order Grab, you know when the Grab car will arrive. So that will give you the expectation, and when it is fulfilled, then you get the satisfaction, and therefore that leads to customer loyalty. Without consistency, without the integrity, then it's hard to build the loyalty. So integrity through digital is of paramount importance to any organization. And big also means to recognize that digital technology is a force of good. So it has a lot of features of abundance. It is uplifting, it is green, it's sustainable, all right? And the rest of technology, I'm not going to touch on that, the IR 4.0, the connectivity and the various technology that are ready for deployment, all right? So to kind of illustrate the entire idea, we're going to play a short video for everyone here.
As a leader mesti berani buat keputusan. Salah tak apa buat keputusan. Biasalah buat keputusan salah kan. Cerita comfort zone ni dah lama dah. Dah lama dah kita cerita leader-leader bercerita pasal comfort zone. Leader sendiri bercerita pasal comfort zone. Tapi leader tak keluar daripada comfort zone. Macam mana nak buah nak keluar?
Siapa sangka setiap kawan lebih 18 tahun berjaya menjadi batu asas
Agrotourism Center hasil kerjasama Farm Fresh dan Universiti Putra Malaysia.
Kalau you compare last 10 years, kita bermula 2010 kan, sampai sekarang dah 10 tahun. 60 ekor lembu tak ada apalah cerita nak pengurusan 60 ekor lembu, 2-3 orang pun boleh jaga kan. Kita buat semua manually, buat sendiri. Jadi untuk mencapai economy of scale yang itu, kita kena expand. Economy of scale tu untuk you tambah orang pengurusan, untuk tambah ini, dia tak beri pulangan yang sewajarnya kerana economy of scale tu tak cukup. Our mission ialah untuk produce fresh milk yang sedap and then deliver within 48 jam secara konsisten, dan itu adalah KPI kita untuk ladang yang ini. Untuk menguruskan itu, kalau kata tak ada satu sistem yang efisien, delivery system kita tak sampai. Bila barang premium, harga dia mestilah premium juga. Tapi kita dekat Farm Fresh, kita nak bagi harga yang affordable. Digital teknologi yang ada dalam ni ialah daripada segi pengumpulan data. Jadi kita kena ada data-data yang spesifik untuk kita tahu prestasi ladang dan pengeluaran lembu kita. Bila kita dah tahu data-data ni, kita dapat troubleshoot. Data tu penting untuk kita. Kalau kata kita tak ada digital punya maklumat, kita tak tahu nak buat apa. Kita just assume. So sebagai leader, kita dapat full control dengan kita boleh akses kepada data-data yang tadi supaya memudahkan kita untuk buat keputusan. Sebelumnya saya guna rapid exit. Jadi itu limitasi dia, satu hari saya boleh perah 800 hingga 900 ekor. Dengan mesin yang baru ni saya boleh perah sekarang 1200 hingga 1500 ekor. Jadi pengeluaran lebih tinggi. Dengan tracking system boleh meningkatkan kita punya integriti dalam supply chain untuk kita deliver produk yang terbaik kepada consumer kita. Kalau you tak betul-betul jaga susu itu kan, belum sampai dah kita nak manufacture dekat kilang pun dia dah rosak. So tracking system ni sangat penting dan consumer kita rasa selamat untuk menggunakan produk kita, dan dia akan loyal dengan produk kita kerana dia rasa this is produk yang boleh kami percayai. Online platform adalah salah satu kaedah di syarikat kami macam mana kita mengumpulkan data untuk kita tengok customer behavior. Kita nak tengok pola pembelian, SKU mana yang laku. Jadi data-data macam ini kita tahu kita nak buat promotion of sales kita dan planning kita punya production pula. Dan tak ada banyak wastage dan kita boleh save dekat situ. Leader kena berani untuk invest. Banyak faedah yang kita boleh dapat daripada invest dekat digital ni. Bila dah skala yang besar ni, memang kita sangat memerlukan digital teknologi. Kita tak boleh lagi manual. If you want to grow big, kita kena berani ambil keputusan untuk invest dan how to penetrate the market, how to break the market. Tapi kalau kata kita masih tak nak terbuka dengan teknologi baru, saya ingat kita akan tertinggal. Untuk deliver produk yang bagus, kita mesti ada analisa supaya kita boleh deliver produk kita dengan selamat kepada consumer. Dan bila orang dah confident dengan produk kita, loyalty tu akan datang sendiri. Dengan digital teknologi ini dapat membantu kita menjadi pengeluar susu terbesar negara dengan sekarang market share sudah 55%. That's what make people happy, stakeholder happy, pekerja happy, everybody happy, kau pun happy.
Yep. I think with that backdrop, and I just want to wrap up by saying that digital talent, there are a few areas that I think we could actually look into. First area is, the first pillar in any digital transformation, it is about the business aspect. So anything about design thinking, the new business model, and then digital business model, digital marketing, business analytic, these are all digital business kind of pillars. And then secondly, to innovate products and services, there's a need to have anything from the web all the way to back end. So that's where software engineering comes in. And then this day is also aided by AI. When we collect a lot of data, then the big data analytic as well. All right. And AI will then be able to help us to get more insights. And then the third area is that when we have a lot of hardware, software, network, and cloud, we need to be able to configure the system, manage cyber security, manage the cloud. So this is where digital system comes in. So these are the three pillars. All are competency based. We hope that we could actually have a lot more people to begin to go into any of those pillars, equip themselves with the right level of skills, so that they can contribute to themselves in terms of high income as well as to others. And lastly, I just want to borrow one slide to promote the MDEC as well as some of the programs approved by MDEC, run by the UTM space. There is this My Week grant. I'm sure Dr. Sumitra will talk about this. I think suffice to say that it is by far the most outstanding program because it's very in-depth. It has a salary subsidy over 6 months, and it has a very clear selection of most relevant digital skills program and training program. I'd like to urge everyone to take advantage of this. And you could also learn more to understand how to claim that 23,600 up to grant, because I understand that the UTM colleagues has also prepared a link. If you'd like to learn more about this, they will be very happy to contact you and then give you the full details along with what MDEC can actually offer. All right. So the link has been put in the chat group. All right. So with that, I'm going to wrap up my sharing at this first session. Thank you. And continuing from here, thank you for the slides, Eman. And I'd like to really invite next our main panelist, that is Dr. Sumitra Nair, the Chief Digital Skills and Job Officer of MDEC, who specializes in all the what they call digital talent, to share with us her ideas, her thoughts, and experiences in this area. Dr. Sumitra Nair, please.
Thank you, Dato'. Fellow panelists, Prof. Dr. Shafri, and my dear friend, Prof. Dr. Wan Zohainis, as well as the MPC team. Thank you for inviting us to be here to share perspectives. I think this is a really, really important topic, and it's very thought-provoking because it talks about deregulation, right? Whether it is complete deregulation or moving towards self-regulation, that's kind of debatable, right? But at the end of the day, we all know that, as what Dato' has shared, we all know that the job market is evolving, is all changing. and we are going through it right now, right? Of course, COVID has accelerated things, but it has been on that trajectory. It's just that it's now a little bit faster than what we had expected, which in a way is good because it forces us out of our comfort zone, right? And so if you ask me, I think there are two sides to this, right? So there's the yin and the yang, and there's always two sides to things. And on the positive side, I like to see it this way. I think the workforce of today and tomorrow now have greater choices, right? We have greater choices, we have greater flexibility, and all of that. So that's really good, because it, compared to maybe when many of the speakers here, our generation, that would have been different, right? We would have been forced down a certain path, right, based on your academic results, based on your profile. You're forced down a path. But now, no, you have much more choices. But when you have so many more choices, then the accountability is also greater. That's the flip side, right? You have to take accountability and responsibility. And so as that happens, then it's interesting, because how do we interface with a generation which now has greater choices and has to take greater accountability? It cannot be a one-way road. It has to be a two-way road, right? So that's one dynamic, two-way road with the talent. But then there's also a two-way conversation that needs to happen with the industry, because while they now have more choices, the industry is also evolving very quickly. So how do we then interact with industry as quickly as possible to make sure that whatever we deliver gives the greatest amount of flexibility to the students, and at the same time fulfills the need of the industry? And so in the past, as we know, in the past, we've had like this very linear path of learning. So you learn one thing and then you learn another, and then you go into a job, and then you have long-term or lifetime employment. Today, it's different. Shelf life of skills are much, much shorter, 3 to 5 years. We know that many people who enter the workforce now, or at least in the next coming few years, they will have a minimum of 5 jobs on average throughout their lifetime, right? So every 3 to 5 years, they may change a job, right? And this assumes a full-time employment, because as what Dato' Wei mentioned, gig employment is also on the rise, right? And today, with COVID and everybody being so comfortable about working from home, remote work has become a huge thing, right? So there's full-time employment, there's also gig employment, right? So how do we then prepare the talents that we're producing for this very dynamic environment? And definitely, I think we need to think about regulations in a different way. And I'm glad, because now, our friends from KPT are very responsive, right? They are forever engaging with industry, listening to industry. And from what I see, increasingly, they are very flexible. Like micro-credentials is out, UTM Space is also offering a lot of that, right? So micro-credentials are out. And then, they're constantly looking at how you can make it stackable, right? Stackable micro-credentials leading towards a postgraduate degree or whatever. So I think these are all important, but I think also there is still a room for improvement, right? And so this is where I want to perhaps put forward 2 ideas that could be somewhat controversial. The first idea is what I think we spoke about when we were preparing for this session, in that if you think about what universities are producing today and what the outcomes are, the most important outcome for any parent and even any citizen, right, who is going to be reaping the benefits of the university degrees and students coming out is employment, is employability, right? We all expect them to be employable. And so as we are doing that, I think we need to think about how do we assess university courses, right? Today, I think we have, of course, our friends at MQA are, as I said, moving towards being more flexible, but I think there is room for improvement. I think we need to get industry to be more involved in the assessment and approval of these courses, not just at the university level, but at a national level, right? So can we maybe flip the model and have, instead of, maybe 90, 100%, being academics, right, who are now assessing courses for MQA, can we have perhaps 70 to 80% who are from the industry and the rest from academia, because they are the customers, right? So that's kind of my first idea. Hopefully it's not too contrarian, not too, thought-provoking. The second thing is, I think we also need to think about, because we have universities today, which are like the 3 to 4 year courses. And then we have TVET education, which is, diploma and certificate. We kind of have actually right now a third animal, right? And this third animal, we don't really know how to deal with it. This third animal is like the likes of the Next Academies, the 42 KLs of the world, right? Which are neither a university and can never fit into the model of a university because they wouldn't fulfill the requirements of our Universities Act and our regulations and policies, and neither are they a TVET, because even our TVET is still somewhat, although evolving, somewhat still conventional in the sense that you have to have lecturers, you have to have teachers, you have to have facilities, whereas some of these new models that are coming up, you don't need that. If you think about Lambda School, you think about 42KL, there's no teachers, right? There's no classes. If you think about Next Academy, also very different. But today, we don't know where to put them. So there's nothing that is supporting the emergence of this kind of new model, which maybe we need to think about, like PTPTN. You can't get PTPTN loans if you take courses at this kind of places. And as you pointed out, Dato' Wei, places like the Google program, you can't get funding for that kind of program because they are not a university and they are not a TVET. They kind of stand alone, right? Neither here or not there. So I think we need to think about that as well. So those are my two somewhat, hopefully, thought-provoking ideas that we can discuss further. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Dr. Sumitra Nair, for bringing out these two very unique ideas. First of all, is to have the industry to co-assess that, and secondly, to rethink about how we could have that space for that that competency-based institution that you mentioned about. Incidentally, UTM space has actually looked into how to actually take that place while combining the industry as well as the university's capabilities. Okay, all right, thank you. And then next, let's have a chance to hear from Professor Dr. Shafri Rahim, who is actually taking care of all the undergraduates to make sure they are ready for their life, ready for the job, ready to be entrepreneurs. So, Prof. Dr. Shafri, please.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good afternoon. Honorable Chairperson, Datuk Wei Chuan Beng, and then our distinguished panel, Professor Dr. Wan Zuhaidi Saad, Director of Academic Excellence Division, MOHI, and also Dr. Sumitra Nair, Chief Digital Skill and Job Officer, MDEC. And then to all the participants for today's event. So I would like to address my gratitude also to the MPC because giving me an opportunity to share my experience and involvement in digital talents development. So what I'm doing right now, basically, as a chair of Institute for Life Ready Graduate. So my role is, to ensure the implementation of curriculums and their delivery always fulfill the current need from the stakeholders. And also my task is to ensure UTM produce a graduate which ready to face challenges in their life and competent enough in their career, either as an employee or as an entrepreneur. So we also working on strengthening the delivering of teaching and learning to support the needs of digital talents in various mechanisms. So basically through first that we introduce 4IR courses in the current curriculums. And then second, we promote to have that work-based learning, which bring more cases from the industry to the class. And third one, basically we encourage lecturer to implement the flexible approach for enrich the student experience, with a real case study. And last part that what we are doing right now is to improve current courses with a competency certificate, which is required by industry to make possible that our graduate, when they graduate, when they go to work, they can receive premium incomes around 400,000 within 6 months after they graduate. So beside that, so we also develop a professional program basically to support the reskilling and upskilling to produce digital talents in collaboration with the industry. Okay, what is a challenge basically when we talk about the talents in Asia? So I read one article basically according to McKinsey Global Institute, 70 million workers across China, India, Japan, will have to adapt to the proliferation of automation technologies and also other form of the innovation basically. So then the post-pandemic COVID-19 also contribute, then will change the landscape of working environments, okay? So then most of the people, work remotely. So it also depends on the automation and also the digital application. So then the digital literacy is required across the responsibility, discipline, position in the organization. So organization may allow their employee to work remotely or maybe to introduce a hybrid scheme. So employee actually like to work flexible, and also employer basically are willing to look at the remote worker as a new way of to securing the talent and also to improve their talent value proposition. So basically in Asia, around 20 to 25% of workers will be able to work away from the physical office. So these are the latest maybe data from McKinsey Global Institute. So in Malaysia specifically, 60% of the job will likely to have 30% of activities that can be automated in near future. So then digital working culture will become essential to all. Reskilling, upskilling is really required. So the skill that require are the technology skill, basic computer and digital skill, advanced cognitive skill, quantitative and statistical skill, and also the problem solving skill. So this also in line with the ASEAN Digital ASEAN Initiative basically, which is our commitment to share commitment to train the digital talents for the ASEAN workforce. So what is a skill gap required in the digital skill basically? So based on the Deloitte report, so you can find it on the Deloitte.com. So the most important and the most difficult to train and to produce are digital transformation specialists. So that, Dr. Wei has presented to us that, to achieve the digital transformation, then we need to have the digital transformation specialists. So until now that, there are a few courses offering this kind of the program. So the second, basically, data scientists. And then third one, basically the digital marketing strategy specialists. So these are the most important and the most difficult to train, okay? Secondly, the more important are artificial intelligence and machine learning specialists. I think on this topic, basically, a lot of current institution offering this kind of program should be no problem. Okay, the third part that we need to focus also, e-commerce and social media specialists, information security analysis, robotics specialist and engineer, and also another one is cloud and IT infrastructure. So the last part that we also important that we need to focus is digital work culture, or to build a digital DNA, okay? Which is the target is to ensure all the employees know how to use the application to assist them to produce, to increase the productivity and quality of their work. So what government has done basically, so we can, if you recap to the, what is the initiative from the government, At the primary school, MOE start to introduce STEM activities toward the robotic, coding, technology, based on the, as a co-curriculum, and sometimes some school, it will become their supplementary subject, okay? So at the secondary school, basically MOE has introduced ICT literacy start from 2007. Then they enhanced the curriculum, changed to the fundamental of computer science in 2016, okay? Start from 2020, they enhanced the syllabus and focus on the algorithm and codings. So means that our student basically graduate from the secondary school, they have a little bit, fundamental knowledge in terms of the computer science and also algorithm and coding. So if we look at the pre-U program, either matriculation or foundation, the basic ICT and computer science is one of the core subjects, okay? Beside that, I think furthermore will be elaborated by Dr. Wan. So MOE has also improved guideline of the offering academic program through MQF 2.0, which is emphasized on the element of digital talent such as numerical skill, digital skill, also cognitive skill. So then university should be creatively improve their syllabus accordingly. Another initiative that is through MBOT. Currently, MBOT allow institutions to revamp the curriculum based on the needs and collaboration with the industry. So the program such as 1 year at the university, 3 years at the industry, or 4 years at the industry is allowable based on the MBOT manual, okay? So I can say that the initiative is there for us to creatively think and work together to find the best way to fulfill the need or the requirement of the stakeholder. In this case, that to fulfill numbers of the shortage of digital talents. So now, with regard to rule and regulation, policy, and so on, we understand that we need to speed up because the digital technology change very faster, okay? Very fast. So then we need to have initiative like what we are doing today, MPC lead to have discussion, to look at how we can improve the process of the approval and the implementation of initiative, prepared by higher education provider or the training provider. So another department that very important in producing competent employees is a Department of Skill Development, Ministry of Human Resource. So the department may need to expand the program to produce a competent vocational skill for the industry in 4IR and also digital aspect. So I have checked with the portal that currently they have the computer system operation certification only. So they may expand to the, the course like the algorithm, coding, and also robotic. So in a way forward, we are really need to strengthening the STEM education at the school level, including robotic and also digital at the school level. So because it will build the digital DNA in the future, okay? Second, since that, the fundamental of computer science has been introduced at the school level, start from 2007. So then the curriculum relate to computer science, IT, and also computing at the university require major changes and must be industry driven, to produce the competent talents to support the digital transformation at the industry. So then beside that, understanding on the artificial intelligence, machine learning will be compulsory inside the curriculum offered in the university level, okay? Thirdly, we understand that the rule regulation is very important. I think the purpose of that is to ensure that prosperity will be in place in our country. So we know that we also need some kind of solution in offering program, either being accredited or not. So, but assistance is required, is needed to facilitate. So any initiative, okay, I would like to suggest that MPC, maybe MDEC, MOHR, MOE, MOHI can have regular discussion, or maybe in the national level, have one task force that to facilitate a new application on digital talent development at every level. So I think that's all that my opinion on this webinar.
Wow, that's great, Prof. Shafri. Thank you very much. You have given, I don't know, at length all the different examples of the programs through your experience. That first of all, what UTM has been offering, and the kind of new kind of programs that are actually coming on stream, and also what ought to be done moving forward in the future in the industry at the regulators level, policy maker level. And also you have made the recommendation that if you could come group together, have a frequent dialogue, or have some form of task force in order to move our country forward to rapidly develop the digital talent. All right, thank you. We have taken quite a bit of time. So next is actually, we'd like to invite Prof. Dr. Wan Zaini Saad. I hope that you will be able to kind of share with us within the 10 minutes and leave us a bit of time for some dialogue. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Datuk Wei Chuan Beng. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon, Dr. Sumitra Nair, Chief Digital Skills of Jobs Office from MDEC, and Prof. Shafri, Chair UTM Institute for Life Ready Graduates. I think I just would like to congratulate the organizer for having this, and congratulate Prof. Shafri. So actually, Prof. Shafri has done everything, have sum up, and with our initiatives and for supporting Ministry of Higher Education. Thank you very much, UTM. And when we talk about digital skill, I mean, in Malaysia, in the Ministry of Higher Education itself, we aggressively try to break down the barriers of digitalization, which has driven the changes in the governance at many higher education institutions. And now, by 2021, for example, all the Malaysia public universities and the private higher education institution also have already their own center for teaching and learning that able and have, for example, a specific unit or division that look into this digital teaching and learning, and especially along with that is actually along with the establishment of the center. But skill mismatch and skill gap among universities graduates are becoming more apparent in recent years. And I do actually agree with Dr. Sumitra and Prof. Shafri, and also Dr. Wei just now when we talk about the greater industry role in curriculum designs, especially to spur innovations and then to ensure that the application and relevancy of the subjects taught in the tertiary institution, a demand-driven, not just industry, but also a demand-driven education model is necessary. And we can say that it is insufficient to focus just on the hard skills and digital skills. So, of course, we do also want to look into how we can cultivate deeply human skills, agility, relationship, and just now when Dr. Wei mentioned about leadership, digital leadership, and of course ability to influence and resilience. So when moving to what we call the knowledge-based to competency-based education, having competence is the process of that governing knowledge and to a set tasks, and it is typically acquired by practice and reflection. So the unique characteristic of competence is the effective and creative demonstration and deployment of knowledge and skill in human situations. So we do want to emphasize competency that include the application of that creation of knowledge along with the development of skill and disposition. So when we talk about competency of the students, we want them to have that. We want the universities or the educators to be able to evaluate the students or to assess the student based on competency. It's actually based on by design and not by chance. So through the Ministry Higher Education initiative, we actually introduced the most recent one that we have just launched is the experiential learning and competency-based education landscape. But before I go into that Excel, I would like also to echo, as Prof. Shafri mentioned about the Malaysian Qualification Framework 2.0. With the one of the skills that I also mentioned is the digital skills, and digital skills in the MQF 2.0 framework is part of the functional work skill that is necessary and is compulsory to all the courses being offered in all the higher learning institutions, and that is being shared and under the task force or what we call the National Outcome-Based Learning under my division in the Department of Higher Education. So another initiative that we are now working with MQA is also to strengthen the program to transform the programs into what we call the open and distance learning, ODL. And we are working closely right now with the Commonwealth of Learning, a collaboration between Ministry of Higher Education and Commonwealth of Learning to expand and strengthen initiatives towards the digitalization of quality higher education, particularly in e-learning with an international organization like Commonwealth of Learning. So this Commonwealth of Learning, for example, we are working on technology-enabled learning benchmarking. So there are 6 universities who have participated to train, not only to do the benchmarking, but also to train the educators on tech-enabled, we call it tech-enabled learning. We are working on the training of trainers related to digital education leadership with this Commonwealth of Learning, micro-credential implementation framework, digital assessment, and also Commonwealth of Learning also provides students and courses for students and educators in the higher learning institutions. And very quickly, we also have what we call the MOHE micro-credential based learning initiatives, that is to promote and to strengthen the micro-credentials courses produced by the universities, in direction to the flexible education. We have MINDS, which is actually MOHE Innovative Digital Educators Initiative, that is to train lecturers, educators to develop, not only develop digital content, but also align with the Industry Revolution 4.0 pillars. That is, we are also working closely with MITI. MILES, which is actually MOHE Immersive Learning Spaces, that is for the universities to develop learning spaces with AR and VR, and of course, as mentioned by Dr. Wei just now, together with MDEC on the digital entrepreneurship. So although you can say that oh, so many initiatives, are the universities doing it, right? Or are there, you know, what are their expectation, or how do they accept these initiatives? So I think it is also very important that, you know, as your video mentioned just now, the leaders of the management, they have to come out from their comfort zone, and you know, change is inevitable. And that's why when we introduce experiential learning and competency-based education landscape, is for the universities to make that transformation by integrating the elements of industry-driven. That is the industry-driven experiential learning, what we call as IDEAL, community resilience experiential learning, CARE, and we have research infused experiential learning, REAL, and personalized experiential learning, POISE. So REAL, CARE, POISE, and IDEAL just now are all the 4 attributes that we hope to develop from the graduates that we produce from this Excel program to resilience and change ready, what we call a resilient and change ready talent. Now, although earlier we have what we call as Prof. Shafri mentioned just now, on work-based learning, we have introduced, I think it was since 2016, 2U to I, 2 years in the university and 2 years in the industry, or 3U1I, 3 years in the university, 1 year in the industry. And since 2016, 2018, we have about 34 programs in the public universities with 2U to I mode. And now to 2021, we have 107 programs. So, but that is for that particular model. But through Excel, we introduce also what we call the apprenticeship program and co-op program, co-op program, where students will spend more time, and also the apprenticeship model, so that the student will have more time spent in the industry. And of course, the commitment and also the collaboration, the involvement of the industries in this model is definitely more than 60%. And students will have familiarization. I haven't had my coffee today. With the industry as early as possible. And of course, we want them to have that immersive industrial experience and not just an internship at the end of their studies. So through IDEAL, for example, those are the models that we introduce, so that the students will internalize and not just familiar with the industry. And through all the other thrust in Excel, for example, like REAL, research infused, there are 7, what we call 7 level or 7 spectrums of this element of research in the program that are being introduced and integrated in the curriculum. So these 4 thrusts, when you can actually work together, either the programs you get the students to work with the community, right? Because the educators will have to be creative and innovative when design the curriculum, and not just the curriculum, also the delivery and assessment. So you can have task or project with the community. That is when you actually choose community resilient experiential learning, CARE just now. But then when you work with the community, you can also get the industry to come in, to be involved, to help the community to solve the issues in the community. At the same time, when you work with the community and you're trying to solve, you develop the analytical thinking and critical and problem solving, and impart the research or infuse the research element into that. So it is actually the mix of CARE and REAL and what is IDEAL just now, for example. So what I'm trying to say is, for us to move forward, we need to make that change and to make that transformation so that our students will have that opportunity for them to learn through this experiential learning, for them to experience and for us to be able to achieve what we call the lifelong innovators and change makers. Thank you, Reto.
Wow, that's really powerful, Prof. Dr. Wan Zuhanis. You know, you talk about this poise, care, real, ideal. This is indeed very powerful. We really have to kind of rigorously put it into a strong implementation across the whole country. Today we have this session. It's really meant to be thought-provoking, to allow us to do some rethinking. And thank you very much for that. And it's also for me, you know, I've allocated until 4 o'clock for me, simply because in a true digital fashion, that, you know, I'm actually going to kind of receive another session very kind of shortly in the next 1 minute. So Prof. Shafri has kindly agreed to moderate half an hour of the Q&A while I need to roll off to another session with another group. I'd really like to thank you very much and also seek your understanding that digital world is real time, just like switch immediately in another world. Thank you very much, Dr. Sumitra Nair, Prof. Dr. Wan Zuhanis, Prof. Dr. Shafri, Aiman, and everyone. And please continue, because it's going to be very interesting to take the Q&A down this particular part of the discussion. And thank you very much. I wish everyone a great success in this webinar of developing digital talent. Goodbye.
Okay, thank you, Dato'. So now I think time for the, you know, if you have any question, then you can post, or you can, turn on your mic and then you can ask the question, please. Any question from the floor? If not, then I will ask the question to the Dr. Wan and also to Dr. Sumitra. Okay.
We have one question on the chat box.
So what is the question?
I would like to know if MDEC offer hands-on short course on additive farming.
Okay.
In Malaysia.
So I think Dr. Sumitra, maybe you can explain about what kind of program that you have under MyWits and also under others initiative under MDEC. Please, Dr.
Thank you for that. So just to share, we set up a digital skills training directory that's online. So if you just Google, you can probably find it. It's called Digital Skills Training Directory by MDEC. And so in there, you'll actually find a range of courses. We are building it up as we speak, but we already have more than 300 courses that are listed on the directory. And these courses have been reviewed and they've been assessed by industry practitioners. So we get actual practitioners to review them and approve them, and then we list them. Now, many of these courses would qualify for the My Digital Workforce Work in Tech Hiring and Training Incentive, as what Dato' Wei had mentioned. So many of the courses there would qualify. In addition, if there are unemployed Malaysians, then many of those courses are also funded via the Perkeso employment insurance scheme. Yeah. So those are some of the courses that are offered. Now, it doesn't go specifically by verticals at this point. It is by technology focus areas for now. So it goes by things like data science, game development, and animation, cybersecurity, digital marketing. So it's by technology areas rather than by verticals. Having said that, we also do have some initiatives that we are piloting on AgTech. So the question was on Agri-Tech. So MDEC is piloting some programs with farmers, local farmers. And the idea is to see how we can use IoT to improve the productivity and yield of local farmers. Some pilots have been successfully conducted. There are more that are being done this year, and we will roll out moving forward. So I hope that that helps. But yeah, if you have any questions, just drop a line to our customer service, and we'll be happy to address those. Thanks.
So, okay, thank you, Doctor. So any question from the floor? I think I got one. My current experience from Jamaluddin Ma'ruf. My current experience implement my STEP programs with Khazanah National indicate getting the current supply sites. Okay, with inclination with 4IR is tough. So because of this situation, we have to redesign the program differently to meet the current industry needs. If you ask me, actually the industry need such skill yesterday. So what is your opinion, Dr. Wan, please, on that?
We have to redesign the program differently to meet the current industry needs. So if
that is the
yeah. I'm reading back the question. Actually, the industry needs such skill yesterday. Yeah, of course. I think Prof. Shafri also can understand the situation in the universities. I do believe as a program owner of any programs, whether it is computer science or Islamic studies or English language, the digital skill is you as a program owner, you have to identify what are the not only the needs of your students, what kind of students that you want to produce, but to analyze the needs of the current market, the demand. Like just now, Prof. Shafri shared on the McKinsey report, Deloitte, for example. We have World Economic Forum's Future Skill, LinkedIn. There are so many reports from ILMIA, from Talent Corp on the critical occupation list. So it is very important that we are the one as a program owner to do this comprehensive analysis to identify the skill sets that our students need and how our graduates can contribute to the community and to the country. So we also have to identify the collaborations and the networking with the network that involve the industries and the agencies that involve in your field, for you to for us as educators, myself, for us to collaborate and to assist and facilitate, because when we talk about talents, it's not just the responsibility of the higher learning institutions or the program owner, but it's the responsibility of everybody involved. So I think we need to enhance and strengthen the collaboration and also the strategic partnership with the industries and agencies, especially in terms of identifying the skill sets and the talent that we need.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wan. So the answer is basically how we're going to redesign the programs, and then how we can encourage industry to take part on the curriculum design development. So yeah, we know that the process of designing curriculum too may take some time, but I think with the clear need from industry, and then industry also support that what we want to change, then it will be happen. So because if KPT produce all the initiative, but we cannot get the support from the industry, then very difficult for us to implement this program. That's why MDEC, I think, facilitate a lot more with, with university, with the industry, and also MPC may become a platform for us to discuss.
Yeah.
So I think anything that you want to add, please?
Well, can I add some?
Yeah, can, please.
I think it is also very important for the universities when, we always hear that it takes so long to produce a program, right? So maybe from my perspective, since I'm the one who's actually handling all the applications for the 20 public universities. And of course, you have to go through what we call the mesyuarat saringan awal, the first screening with the concept papers. And as, again, come back as a program owner, when you actually really want to offer a new program, you have to do all the research, all the homework, and then prepare when during the first screening meeting is to really prepare for just like you're going to offer a program already. So you have identified the needs, you have engaged with the industries, and we want the industry, you can actually work with the industry as early as possible, and not just when the curriculum is ready that you present to the industries. You get the industries to come in as co-developer, co-creator of the program. Some of the universities actually, they have worked very closely with the industries. There is one program, for example, in UNIZA, who are actually working closely with the association of the Malaysia Plastic Manufacturing Association, where both of the faculties and the association customize, work together, customize, tailor-made the programs for the plastic industry, polymer industries, for example. So we want the industry's involvement as early as possible, and usually the universities, they have what they call as the Jawatan Kuasa Penasihat Industry, the Industry Advisory Council, for example, and usually they will just we want to sort of make use of this council to really help to give feedback, not only at the end, but also from start. So the process of the mesyuarat saringan awal, when we have panels, even from MDEC, Dr. Sumi, we have from Talent Corp and all, to give feedback on the program, and we have that meetings 5 times in a year. So if you are really prepared, right, for that particular program, once the meeting has approved for your program, the next meeting you can actually apply. You can actually apply into what we call the Jawatan Kuasa Pendidikan Tinggi. That would be the full papers to present it and to be approved, and you can actually offer the program already in the next semester. So it all depends to the program owner, how soon that you can actually prepare the program. And here in the Department of Higher Education, we have 5 times in a year, but also we can always have special meetings. But I think it is very important that you are the one who want to make that change and who want to transform. And I would also like to emphasize that when we discuss about that is about new program, I would also like to emphasize when we do the curriculum review, you don't have to wait 3 years or 5 years to do a curriculum review, right? So you need to align all the current needs, all the current demands when you review your curriculums. That will be based on for example, the My Digital Economy Blueprint, or Shared Prosperity Vision 2030, all those, even the National IR4 policy, for example. So all those, what I'm trying to say is the educators need to update yourself in terms of all the needs, the current needs, and also the technologies.
Okay, so I think Dr. Sumitra, what is your insight on this?
Yes, I just wanted to add on to say that, you know, I guess, you know, some of the questions may be, how do we know what the industry wants, right? And of course, you know, we can speak to industry and so on and so forth, and we encourage everybody to do that. But perhaps a shortcut for you, if you are from the universities or even some of the program designers like MyStep and so on, is to refer to the industry skills framework, which I've just posted the link to. So it is on HRDC's website, and it's a set of skills frameworks that MDEC has developed with industry players. So including PCOM, including FinTech Association, the cloud players, various industry groups. And it provides, you know, lists of technical skills, soft skills, competencies, as well as certifications which are in demand. And so how we did this was basically we have been observing the recruitment trends via LinkedIn, which is one of the most active recruitment platforms for digital talents. And then we have validated that with the local industry. So if you are looking for what kind of competencies you should be incorporating into your university programs or into, you know, the other programs run by GLCs or by other agencies, I would suggest for you to refer to the industry skills frameworks. We also produce quarterly insights on digital talents, and we share that quite widely, especially with the premier digital tech institutions, as well as with KPT and so on. And do let us know if you would like to receive the insights, because we do indicate there what we're seeing in terms of, you know, the hottest jobs, the hottest skills, not just in the country, but also in ASEAN and Asia Pacific. So we kind of track it across. So because we do know that a lot of our youth are looking at job opportunities, not just in the country, but also outside. And it's good for us to know what are the trends in the region, because oftentimes, you know, what's happening in the region becomes a trend here in a few months, right? So do let us know. But in the meanwhile, you know, if you're a university, do check out the skills frameworks.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. So I think there are a few questions about the MyWIT, MDEC, and UTN Space about the digital talents programs. So maybe I will invite the UTN Space. Maybe if you have, you know, you want to say something to answer all the questions about the question posted in the chat. Do we have a UTM Space representative?
Yeah, hi, Professor. I'm
okay. Right. Please.
So I think I can answer some of these questions in the chat lah. So okay, the first one being, does the unemployed experienced individual eligible to register for MyWIT ETM Space? And Dr. Sumitra can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but so long as they fulfill the criteria of being unemployed for a minimum of 2 months, then they will be eligible under the MyWIT program. For non-graduate experienced worker, meaning they're not fresh grad, they're not unemployed, nor have they been retrenched, then they won't be eligible since they don't fall under the categories. But if they want to enroll in the program on their own, then they are more than welcome to. To join the program as an employee course in data computing and other courses. So Dato' Wei actually shared the link for the for the early registration form. So feel free to fill that in, and then myself and our team will actually get in touch on the next steps lah.
Okay, so Aiman, can you drop your phone number for them to contact maybe after this? Okay, I just want to pick up another one question about from the Xu Diang. It's about the, you know, they need the digital transformation I think maybe digital transformation talents. So do we have that kind of program at MDEC? So Dr. Sumitra?
Well, I don't think it's specifically digital transformation because that's huge, right? Digital transformation involves, as we spoke about earlier, even leadership skills. It involves soft skills, hard skills, and so on. We have had, which I think may have been, I think may still even be on, is we do have like grants that are available for companies to assist them in their digital transformation. I think we've just closed this year's SME automation grants, probably will reopen next year. And there's one that's ongoing for 4th IR grants as well. So through those grants, they support not just solutions in terms of software solutions and systems, but they also can be packaged with training, especially training to support the deployment of those solutions. So in that way, yes, I guess you can say we do support digital transformation, but again, this is a very broad word, so it really depends on what part of digital transformation. And of course, we do tell companies also that, you know, sometimes it's hard, especially if SMEs, it's hard for companies to reskill their internal workforce quickly, right? And it may be costly and they may not actually be in a position to hire digitally skilled talents. So of course, options are, yes, they can go for, you know, the hiring and training incentives like My Way. There are others. I know KPT has their own hiring and training incentives and so on. So there are those, but even those may take time. So in the interim, we do encourage companies to look into tapping gig workers. I mean, these are more the highly skilled gig workers, right? People who are, you know, software programmers, they may be data scientists, so they can also support digital transformation, especially for SMEs. Yeah, and we do have programs that we train these kind of people and we teach them how do you actually bid for jobs. So that's on the supply side. And on the demand side, we encourage companies to look at talent as a service as one of the models for them to address their talent needs for digital transformation. Hope that helps. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. So I think we near to the end of this webinar. So I will call Dr. Wan, which is if you have any last advice to us, please.
Thank you, Prof. I just want to say it's time that all of us I know that, all of us are working very hard to ensure that, for example, our graduates fulfill all the needs, not only to the industry, but also the country. But at the same time, we also, at the Ministry of Higher Education, together with what I'm trying to say, we need a concerted effort to make to achieve our goals on this producing 500,000 right digital talents, and although we can say that when we look at the numbers, it's actually a lot, but we need to work together collaboratively, and so that we can actually help each other. And please do let us know so that we also in the Ministry of Higher Education will be able to facilitate. And I would like also to thank the universities and the agencies, MPCs, for example, who have been working very closely with us, and of course MDEC, to work together and so that our student our graduates and will be able to adapt and to be agile, and of course at the same time to fulfill our Malaysia Higher Education blueprint. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Wan Zuhainis. Okay, last word from Dr. Sumitra.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think it's been a pleasure being on the panel, and I think it's important for us to continue to, work together as one. Collaboration is key, but I think as what Dr. Wan mentioned, for each of our organizations to ask, how can we be part of the solution? Rather than we look to another organization or agency and say, why can you do this or why can't you do that? How can we be part of the solution? Whether you're a company or an agency or even an individual, how can we be part of the solution and how can we work together? Then I think we can start to move forward, right? And that is really critical. We cannot afford to fall behind. In fact, the whole world is racing ahead. And so this is not the time to slow down. It's the time to accelerate and figure out how to do this together. So again, thank you very much for the invitation. And it's been a pleasure being on the panel. Thanks.
Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for both panel. So basically, maybe we can, regard to the discussion today. So then maybe we can have opportunity if, we take advantage of digital premier tag, which has been, established by MDEC, and then work on the micro-credential, then to solve the problem of shortage of 500,000 digital talents. Then KPT can help us how to, how to regulate all those and then how to, give awarding and so on later on. I think so MPC can take lead to discuss after this with the digital premier tag and also JPT, MDEC and so on, I think micro-credential is one of the solution in the future. Okay, I think that's all from me, Aiman. So I think I pass back to Aiman as organizer, to continue. Okay, please, Aiman.
Thank you so much, Prof. Dr. Shafri, and also the panelists, Dr. Sumitra and also Dr. Wan. I hope we all have learned a lot from this session. And I think thank you so much for joining us and for all the questions and feedback given by the participants. I think before we end, let me share this. Please provide your feedback by scanning the QR code. And also you can also click the bit.ly link on the chat box to give us feedbacks and also to claim for the presentation slides. Okay, please like our Facebook page, Digital Productivity Nexus, and follow our Instagram and also our YouTube. You can rewatch. You can watch the recording of this session on our Facebook page and also later on the YouTube. Thank you. I think that's all for the afternoon. Thank you so much. Have a productive day ahead and stay safe and stay productive. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Salam. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sumitra and Dr. Wan.